Mr. Lushola is a dynamic multi-potentialite and an accomplished serial entrepreneur, renowned for founding and scaling successful businesses in the food and fashion industry. His expertise spans business consulting, profitability strategy, and self-leadership, making him a sought-after speaker and mentor who impacts millions monthly through his podcast and mentorship platform. As the convener of Positioning for Profit, an SME masterclass tailored for business owners, Olushola equips entrepreneurs with actionable strategies to scale their businesses effectively. His authenticity and versatility as a multi-potentialist has earned him collaboration with notable organizations across fintech, edutech, and various lifestyle sectors. Olushola is an alumnus of Covenant University, where he made history as the first male student to graduate with first-class honor in sociology, finishing as the top student in his class. He furthered his education with an MBA, specializing in doing business in sub-Saharan Africa. From Oxford University, USA, which is America. Beyond business, Olushola serves as an ordained pastor. Yes, he's a pastor at Celebration Church International, popularly known as CCI Global, one of Africa's fastest growing ministries, where he leads as the resident pastor of a Lagos branch. Olushola is available for speaking engagements, employee training, and business coaching, bringing his wealth of knowledge and transformative insights to organizations and individuals seeking growth and excellence. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. All right, hi everyone, good evening. This is not my ideal scenario, particularly because I'm very, very, very particular about people's attention span and their wavelength. Quick question, where are you lodged? Yeah. You what? You're going far. Now, the reason I asked that is because Techboss mentioned that I'm going to have an amazing time with you tomorrow, right? I'll be speaking for much longer tomorrow. I had hoped that we had quality time today. Reason being that there's actually a whole lot I'd like to get off my chest, okay? However, I'm also very particular about your time. The very first thing I do whenever I step into any room is to check the energy. I like that, Mr. Tade Cash delivered a very amazing keynote address, and you were all excited, I could tell. However, my question is, how many more minutes do you have of high alertness? Tell me. I like your honesty, sir. 20 minutes. I'll tell you why. I have a rule. No one sleeps when I'm talking. Not because I would go around and flog you if you sleep, but because I'm about the most interesting speaker you ever listen to. However, I'm also very particular about your time. You've been here since morning, right? And I wish things were a little bit more ideal in terms of my timing, but here's what we're going to do. I'm going to spend 25 to 30 minutes with you. Give me all the attention you possibly can, and tomorrow we'll go deeper. Does that work? Yeah. All right, round of applause for yourselves. Thank you so much. It's a delight to be here. First and foremost, I need to say that whenever I go to meetings that are paid or master classes, I'm a lot more excited because people have decided to place a premium on their time. I speak in a lot of places. I speak at free events. I speak to hundreds and thousands of people. However, nothing gets me more excited than when I get into rooms where people have decided to part with their hard-earned money, one way or another, to be at a particular place. It shows that you not only value knowledge, but you also value execution. Are you with me? And so it's a pleasure. First and foremost, I would like to give an honorable mention to my host, Techboss. It takes a lot to host an event like this. I'm very well aware it takes a lot. I know it takes a lot to bring me anywhere. And I know it takes a lot to bring Mr. Tade anywhere. And I know they have no idea what it takes. but I really do hope that they value it. You also had Mr. Wisdom Ezekiel, and I saw that you're actually hosting my friend, by the way, online banker. I think he's going to call maybe tomorrow or next. I have no idea. But amazing, incredible lineup. But here's the plan. A lot of people get into conferences with the hope of just attending for attending's sake. Oh no, there's something we call initial gra-gra. A lot of people step into the new year, brimming with so much enthusiasm. They register, sign up for courses, but at the end of it all, it's almost as though it enters from one ear and goes out from the other. Here's what I would say. I would say, make the amount that was invested in this count in every way that you possibly can. So on that note, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much, sir, for that amazing address before I came up. Now, I was supposed to actually submit a slide. Can you take my bio off, by the way? One of the scariest and weirdest things for me is listening to my bio being read. You know, it's like when those pastors are about to be called up to come and preach somewhere, and they're like, some hide, or some start doing like this in between their legs. Thank you very much. I don't really like to see it. Now, here's the drill. I was still contemplating on exactly what to speak on. Techboss gave me a free hand and said, you know what, you can talk about this, talk about this, talk about that, anything you choose. And I said, okay, no problem. What time do I have? And then he told me I have a short time today and I have a longer time tomorrow. But here's the thing. I want to ensure that everything I'm telling you is stuff that maybe none of the other speakers might have covered. Are you getting me? Because I want to ensure that this entire training is so robust for you and you leave with as much as you possibly can. Now, I can speak on a wide array of topics without looking at any note and without asking any questions, and I'll just go on for hours. However, I sat down there trying to study the demographic of people, and it dawned on me that, I stand to be corrected. I stand corrected. Kindly correct me if you want to. I think that Mr. Tade has done an amazing work on sales. He's closed more real estate deals than I will ever close. Are you with me? So there's no way I'm coming to come and teach on sales when he is seated. And it dawned on me again that Mr. Wisdom might have spoken to you about quite a number of things. Online Banker is coming to talk about financials tomorrow. So I thought about it and said, what's one of the main things that HNIs and high flyers and C-level executives seek my help for? And I said, you know what? It's a subject of personal branding. Quick question. Anyone here is interested in hearing about that? Now, I'll tell you why. You will hear on sales that you'll be able to bring to fruition and properly execute if the concept of personal branding is lost on you. Because you sell a product first by your appearance before any word from your mouth is ever uttered. This is very important. I've seen people disqualify themselves first and foremost from how they look. And like I always tell people, I said you need to learn to look the part and smell the part. You need to learn to package the container in a fantastic way because people see the container before they ever have a glimpse of the content. Whenever you go to a supermarket, you don't go and say, oh my God, this one works better than the other. The first thing that pulls you and attracts you is the container. And particularly for people in the real estate industry, I think it will be very pertinent that I begin from there. But because whenever I talk about personal branding, there's a whole lot to say, I'll move that to tomorrow. So is that okay? So come tomorrow, come with your notepads, come with as many things as you possibly can. I hope I begin when, so sorry. Dami, my madam is calling me. Can you help me take the phone? Someone say, oh, that too like love. Thank you very much. Okay, so does that make sense? Does that work? Amazing. So that's what we're going to do. Let me have my private phone when you're done. That works, right? Good. So then, today, here's what I'll just do as quickly as possible over the course of the next 20 minutes, is to get you to my wavelength. Get you to my wavelength. So here's the biggest issue I face, is that many times as speakers, when you walk into a particular room, a whole lot of what you're saying could be lost on people, not because what you're saying is not valuable, but because many of them are not operating at the same mental wavelength as you are. For example, thank you so much. Imagine sharing $1 million secrets to people who haven't touched 10,000 naira. Think about it. Think about it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not here to financially segregate. Neither am I here to say, oh, because you've not touched so and so amount, you're out of this. No. Here's what I want to do. I want you to understand the power of imagination and the power of breaking self-limiting beliefs and mental barriers first before we talk about anything else. Are you with me? Because all that Mr. Tade has said will be lost on you if you are still operating with a very small mindset. He's talking about closing deals and touching millions of dollars, but some people just have never seen themselves ever even operating in such a league in their lives. So absolutely, it will be lost on you. So here's the first thing I want to do. I want to help you break the mental barriers towards your journey to success. Are you ready? Now, the very first thing I want to say is, when we talk about mental barriers, or when you talk about any limitation whatsoever, it's first mental before anything else. And I'll share a lot of examples with you. You know, there's a very quite popular story I think makes a whole world of sense. In the mid-1960s, scientists and sport enthusiasts all concluded that no human being could run a mile under 4 minutes. I take that again. They all concluded that no human being could run a mile under 4 minutes. In case you don't know what a mile is about 1.609 kilometers, which means that no human being can run 1.609 kilometers less than 4 minutes. And so it was a well-known fact in the world of sport. No one has ever done it. No one will ever do it. And one way or another, they placed a barricade and a limit on the minds of almost every single athlete. And then someday in 1954, a particular guy called Roger Bannister came up and contested that fact. If doctors have said it, they've placed a medical limitation on the minds of people. If scientists have said it, they've placed a scientific limitation on the minds of people. So how about I attempt it and just see where that leads? And then he tried. So in 1954, Roger Bannister ran for 3 minutes and 59 seconds and became the very first human being to ever run a mile under 4 minutes. But here's where it gets interesting. About 2 years after, up to 16 different athletes beat his record. What does that tell you? Think very deeply. What it tells you is that all the limitations that there ever is are more mental than anything else. And a whole lot of us must understand that as human beings, you are a product of social conditioning. Every single thing in society, every single thing you hear, see, or even feel is designed in such a way that it either limits you or conditions you a particular type of way. And so many of us in this room today, you're 30, 40, 35, and all through your life, you've been thinking a particular type of way. But my question is, how well have you properly tested what you believe in and how you got to where you currently are? What do I believe about myself, and why do I believe it about myself? I've heard men say, I can't help it, I must cheat. I've heard some women say, I can't help it, but other men entice me, and there's nothing else I can do about it. Away from morality, I've heard some people make statements like, there's nothing I will do, I will never be attractive enough to pull the kind of crowd that maybe an Olushola pulls. I've heard some other people step into different businesses, and the only thing in their mind is just to make a living and earn a living, or just be what we call comfortable. But that's where the problem starts. Have you investigated why you think the way you think? Have you? What has placed a limitation on your mind hitherto? Could it be your environment? And by environment, I'm talking about the strongest environmental influence on anyone's life, which is family. You see, family is the smallest unit of society, but it has the largest impact on anyone in society. I saw videos of children of world-renowned, popular socialite and accomplished entrepreneur, Alhaji Razak Wahab Okoya. Many of you must have seen his children's TikToks. He has a song that sings, people think he can't make it, but it's okay. The jury is out on that. And I saw videos of his children. And it dawned on me and I said, this children, now for those who don't know Wahab Okoya, do you know Eleganza Group? Yes. That's him. Let me tell you how wealthy he is. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made a statement sometime last year and said, if I don't have money, I will go and meet Okoya. That's how wealthy Okoya is. He's 1% of the 0.001% in Nigeria. Now, I saw videos of his children. Now, he married a lady back in the late 1990s, early 2000s. Her name is Shade Okoya. Some of you don't know her, but it's okay. Now, she birthed some children for him, and obviously, they are Gen Zs now. And so they do a lot of showing off and stuff like that online. But here's where I'm headed. Sometime recently, I saw a wand of cash with them. I saw the kind of cars they had access to. And then it dawned on me, and I said, oh my God, the reality of these children is going to be so out of touch with that of the average Nigerian. I'll tell you why I'm saying that. An average Wahab Okoya child grew up seeing endless financial possibilities, living in Banana Island, going to the choicest schools around the world. So money, for example, is not a limitation. Are you with me? Which means that the way he approaches a project is different from the way you approach it. When they see an expanse of land, they don't go thinking, oh my God, where is funding coming from? When they see people in upper echelon of society, they don't go wondering, oh my God, that's them. Have you ever been in a room with people who make statements like, all these rich people, you don't know what they are doing to be wealthy? Let me tell you something. There's a point some people get to that they are so soaked in self-limiting beliefs that anytime they see someone that should be an inspiration, they see competition. And sometimes they don't even see competition, they see someone they must discredit. The problem is not with the person that is supposed to be a source of inspiration, but because they themselves are trying to compensate themselves and tell their minds that there's a reason they are not there. So here's my point. For some of us, our self-limiting beliefs were placed on us by our parents. And it's not their fault. Many of them did it subconsciously. You were walking to a public school in the morning and you saw private school people being dropped off by drivers. And instead of you admiring from afar, your mom looks at you and says, don't mind those spoiled children. The problem probably was not mommy, but it was that that's how society has conditioned mommy. They see any ounce of comfort as being laid back and being spoiled. Are you getting what I'm saying? Therein lies the major fundamental difference between someone from sub-Saharan Africa, for example, and an average American graduate from a university. They are thinking in billions of dollars. They are thinking consulting and financing. They are thinking Silicon Valley and Y Combinator. You're thinking, oh my God, when will Tinubu give us Alawi? Listen, all that you are today is a compendium of all the limiting beliefs and mirrors of possibilities you have seen all your life. And which is why I'm speaking to 30-year-olds, but it will be wrong for me to start off by talking about a desirable future without first and foremost from getting there. And so if there's anything you're going to do over the course of the next 24 to 48 hours is to open up your mind to possibilities. Some of you have been shortchanging your minds by telling yourself that some level of affluence is not for you. My question is, why is it not for you? Is it because it was not for your mom? It's time to investigate. Some of you think you'll never be great speakers. You know why? It's because your secondary school teacher insulted your English in front of the entire assembly. Those things have deposited seeds of doubt in your mind. And so, several decades after, an amazing speaker that you've paid millions of dollars or naira to come speak to you comes and is hitting so many missiles. People are shouting, yay, yes, yay. And you're like, what's wrong? What's wrong is that your mind has not been conditioned enough to soak it in. Listen, every single person must understand something that I want to share very quickly. It's an iceberg analogy. Every single person is like an iceberg. And like an iceberg, nobody sees what's beneath, you only see what's on top. Are you with me? Now, what we see on top is your character. Is how you appear, how you look. But listen, what determines what we see on top is all that is within. And so behind every single thing I see with you, sir, are years of negative self-talk or positive self-talk, are years of your environment conditioning you. When you step into every single sale, how possible you think it is for you to close that deal could be as a result of how many years you second-guessed yourself, or how many years people made you second-guess yourself. And so more than anything else, this is a call to solve the problems that have plagued you hitherto. And those problems are etched in your memory, etched in your experiences, etched in your background. But here's the good news. Like someone popularly said, it's time not to make your background keep you on the ground forever. Every single human being needs to have a henceforth moment. A henceforth moment is where you make a decision and say, look, my parents might have been responsible for my coming to life, but what I make out of my life is entirely up to me. I'll tell you why. It's because you can give a bag of excuses and they're legitimate. The reason I'm not successful is because I grew up in Ajegunle. Cute stuff. Are you aware at the end of your life, when you tell your grandchildren that, it sounds like a cool story, a very sob and pity story, and no one will judge you for it? Let me tell you something. Every single time you choose to stay where you are, you have a legitimate reason to remain like that. You do. You do. You could just point out a number of excuses and tell me why you choose to remain that way. Or you could do the opposite. Snap out of it and choose to make the most of your life by taking your life at the scruff of the neck. Say after me. Say, I'm responsible for the outcome of my life. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. But the first thing you have to do is ask very dangerous questions. And these questions are on the path to self-discovery. I always tell people something. I say, you can't be a leader if you haven't led yourself first. And you can't lead yourself if you don't know yourself. There's a reason, I repeat, you act the way you do. There's a reason you are the way you are. I have a word of things I can talk about, but because I'm pressed for time, I'll end with this in the next 5 to 10 minutes. It's the fact that it is impossible. You see, self-leadership is more important than leadership itself. Because only a person who has conquered himself can conquer the world. But conquering yourself every time, begins from understanding yourself. So here's the thing we're going to do. I'd like you to pick out a piece of paper and write the following. Write self-awareness plus self-regulation equals self-mastery. Self-awareness plus self-regulation equals what? Self-mastery. So now, there are so many tools. Now, when I speak to organizations, I always tell them, I tell the CEOs, man, I say, look, the reason someone is underperforming or overperforming is etched in their perception of themselves, in many cases. The reason you have in the same company someone that needs to be, motivated constantly, extrinsically, and somebody else who is self-motivated is also down to the problem of self-leadership. And so when companies invite me for maybe a 2-day training, the first thing I do on day one is I run them on a self-leadership mini course. We spend 6 hours on it. And many times when I'm done, I see old men almost come in tears. I'm 50-something. Now I know why I am the way I am. Oftentimes, the first 2 hours is like therapy. So people start crying. This happens in some of my specialized coaching with HNIs. I mean, CEOs, most of the people I coach are out of the country. So sometimes, via Google Meet, we are addressing how you got to where you are. And then a lot of layers of your personality start uncovering. That the reason you second-guess yourself could probably be because you were assaulted as a kid. And then you told your mom about the sexual assault. But she what? Beat it down and said it was a lie. And so the second-guessing started from there. There are some people, the reason they battle with intense imposter syndrome was probably because they did everything in that relationship, but the girlfriend or boyfriend rejected them. And so they've gone on with the notion of, I'm never enough, or I will never amount to enough in the eyes of people. Are you getting what I'm saying? All these things are vital. If I sit with you for 30 minutes, I'll be able to tell how you got to where you are. But the problem is, a lot of us put the cart before the horse. If I came in here and went straight to everything that I wanted to tell you, without first and foremost attacking the underlying principles or reasons you are who you are, it's going to be like fetching water into a basket and expecting it to be filled up. Because if the foundation is not verified, nothing that you build upon it will make sense. Are you getting what I'm saying? This is important because many of us are trying to build skyscrapers on 2-bedroom flat foundations. The foundation is your mind, is your imagination. How far can you see? How well do you think your life will turn out? This is where it begins. There are some people you don't need to motivate to. There are some people, you see when he was saying that he said he stopped somebody for 11 months. Some of us, you hear one no, you don't back out, and you're wondering why there's sakpa in your life. Do you know one of the reasons you probably have backed out? It's probably because every time you heard no as a child, you did the same thing. And so you're just repeating the process over and over and over again. And so I'll end with this. Self-awareness is the biggest goal. Now, this is what self-awareness is. Self-awareness is like taking a SWOT analysis on your life. You guys know what SWOT analysis is. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. A lot of us apply it to businesses, but we're yet to apply it to our lives. Self-awareness is asking yourself the most important questions in the most brutal way. Why do I behave the way I do? What are my strengths? What am I great at? What are the things that I can always do? What are the skills I have? A skill is something you can reproduce on demand. A skill is something that if they tap you in the middle of the night, you will come and repeat the same thing with the same level of excellence. What am I great at? I always give a poll, but I can't do that here. There are many ways I do this. There's something called the Johari window, for example. A way that you can know parts of yourself that you never knew. There's the open self, there's the hidden self, there's the blind self, and there's your unknown self. But I won't go into those today. One of the very simple ways you can find out stuff is, what do people compliment me about the most? For some of the clients I coach, I tell them to send this to 3 major people. Someone at work, someone in family, and probably someone at church or someone they're in a relationship with. I say, what is it you like the most about me? What do you like the most about me? If you don't have anyone to send it to, what do people compliment the most about you? Let me tell you something. People's general perception of you, in many cases, are not wrong. Don't let motivational aspire to Maguire stuff fool you. Don't believe what people say about you. You don't know what I'm talking about. There is more in you. People are wrong, you are right. No. 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 If 9 out of 10 people say you are saucy, you are saucy. If 7 out of 10 people say you speak so well, that's something. Tomorrow, on personal branding, I will break your table. I will break it. I will break it. I will break it. I will tell you why body spray is more important than wig. Real estate marketers and consultants. You hear me? I was speaking yesterday, I gave a keynote address at the Event Experience Africa, Africa's biggest conference for event managers and event planners and all of those things. And I told them something very interesting. I said, guys, there's a lot to uncover. But I said something that made everyone laugh. I said about a year ago, or about months back, I was trying to lease a property, myself and my wife. And I was trying to lease property in Victoria Island, Lagos. And as we moved around Lagos, drove around, did all manner and stuff, we met all kinds of real estate agents. And you guys will always say, give us inspection fee. That was not my problem. We paid inspection fee. But the average real estate agent ended up moving us to somebody else that took us to somebody else. Just all that rubbish. But here's the thing. On 2 separate occasions, we went to pick up an agent for inspection. 2 different agents. And the moment they entered into my car, the environment changed. Listen. There's something called buzo. There's something called ba. You know, yesterday we had some contingents from other African countries that could not understand English. So I told them this in their language. I said, do you know leather? It's called pomo. Some people smell like pomo. Some people smell like something we call locust bean. Iru pete at iru woru. And let me tell you something. No matter the property you're taking me to, the moment you show up in my car, my wife just looked like, Can I say something? Some of you, the reason you've not been selling well is probably not the property or the clients. It's you. You don't smell like where you are going. There's a way you enter into a place that your perfume does the announcement for you. And can I bust your head? The perfume doesn't have to be too expensive. The perfume I get the most compliments for last year was a YSL that was not anywhere close to the cost of a Creed Aventus or a Tom Ford I'm wearing. For some people, it's body spray. Buy Brutes. Buy Nivea. Tomorrow, I will put fire on you. You will live hacking personal branding and how it gets you into rooms that you only dreamt of. But let's leave that one aside. Self-awareness asks the most brutal questions. What do I get complimented the most for? But also, what do people complain about me the most? There's everybody here that has their bad sides. But self-aware people are better leaders because they know the bad side and they've curtailed it. One of the major barriers to harnessing self-awareness is ego. You don't have the humility needed to base yourself enough to take feedback. Anytime someone gives you feedback, you insult them. Auntie, be calming down. Your blood is always up. What do you mean by that? Do you notice I'm not talking about your expertise yet? I'm talking about your person. Your person. Your person. What are your weaknesses? If you have friends that can tell you the truth, or do a blind poll, and tell people on your WhatsApp status, if you've known me for up to 5 years, fill this form. Move on. Are you getting my point? Uh-huh. Now, the reason I always tell people to pay attention to their weaknesses as much as they pay attention to their strengths is because if your strengths get you to the top, your weaknesses can bring you down. Quite recently, about a couple years back, I was in a conversation with one of my friends who works in one of the biggest FMCGs in the world. And he was telling me about one of his bosses who got fired off their job after spending so many years building to the apex of their career. And what made him get fired? Ask me. He assaulted a female at work. I mean, sexual assault. The sexual assault was probably not even chaining her and kissing her or having sex with her. It could be as little as spanking her ass, thinking she's into you. Knowing fully well that this guy was even a married man to compound it all. Now let me tell you something. This guy had built his career to the apex. And just that simple mistake that he made got him fired. But let me tell you something. It's not a mistake. Did you hear what I said? What you do as a result of muscle memory is not a mistake. There have been several years of that same attitude. But the reason he did not get the same consequences was because he was doing them when the limelight wasn't there. And success is a trap. And I always tell people, stop chasing the limelight. Grow down before you grow up. Because if you get prematurely exposed to the limelight, the light will blind you. As much as the limelight exposes your competencies, it also overexposes your flaws. And many times your competencies might even be ignored, but your flaws are amplified. What are the things that will spoil work for me in the future? Ask yourselves now. Ask. You know why? It's harder to climb the stairs, or easy to come down. Sure, we should do it. Easy. Easy. So, self-awareness is where it all begins. Be aware of yourself. Why do I behave the way I do? Why am I thinking this way? Could the reason I'm terrible working in a team be because I was bullied as a child? And automatically, I'm still fixated on that problem that I did not deal with. Some of you need therapy before you need masterclass. I'm very particular about raising wholesome career professionals and business owners. I'm not just giving you hit and run. If I motivate you now, hey, you can dash me all your money. I could die. But that's not why I'm here. Let's start off that way. And after you understand yourself in self-awareness, you can now self-regulate. Let's stop here. See you tomorrow. Thank you. I hope I kept you time, sir. All right. God bless you. Thank you so much, everyone. Techboss, sir. What time am I with them tomorrow?